fact that it slides back and forth easily on a set of roller bearings set up on these two bars. It's adjustable back and forth. I'm okay. Hey Insiders, here's part 2 of my lathe sander that I put together mainly to find out, to come up with a better way to sand down some heavy duty inlay rings. It could be used for many other reasons. Anyway, I'm Ken and welcome inside my shop. One of the first things I'd like to mention is that the fact that it slides back and forth easily on a set of roller bearings set up on these two bars. It's adjustable back and forth so that you could either sand right at the platen or you can sand up a little bit higher. So it's easily adjustable that way. I have my water misting system set up here, my reservoir tank back over here. And one of the nice things that I really like, and I thought about while I was designing this, was that I can still use my tailstock and I can still use my tools at the same time without having to switch back and forth, unlike some of the other ones where the sander's actually mounted on the tool post and then it goes in, so you're constantly taking it on and off. Here it's very simple. You just slide it out of the way. Either way will work, as you can see. I've got a blank in here right now, and it's set up so that I can go ahead and drill out the center of that. Once it gets drilled out, simply just take off the tailstock. You don't even really need to take the tailstock off. You just slide it on back. Pull your chuck out. And you can set up your, slide this back over so you can see it. Put on your lathe tool. And obviously I'm using a few props here to kind of speed up the process so you're not getting too darn bored. Anyway, I got this set up, this ring set up on my mandrel right now. And as you can see, that only took a minute to do, which, you know, that's pretty normal. But the fact that you can still have the sander sitting here is great. And you can go ahead and do your machining there. Once you get that done, just pull your tool off so you're not running your hands into that. Move the carriage back. And then once you've got it to the point that you're ready to sand, start your sanding. The one thing that I should back up on here is sometimes your inlay material is excessive, really lumpy, really hard, like the example that I'm showing right now. And then it's really simple just to take the lathe sander, turn it on, and it smooths it out to the point that you could actually start changing out the belts, which, by the way, as far as the belts are concerned, the belts change very easily. It takes less than, you know, whatever, 10-15 seconds to change your belts. Obviously, you always make sure that you wait for the sander to quit spinning. Yeah, that's experience speaking right there, guys. Okay, that's my felt belt. It takes a little bit to get it rolling. Now I got that back on, so you can just take it, slide it over, and spin him on down. got yourself a nice polish. By the time you go through all the belts, of course. So I could start off, depending on my materials that I'm using, I'll start off with, let's say, an 80 grit, and then I'll work my way up to about 600, and then I change over to my felt pads, and then once I get to the felt pad and get that in, then I'll go ahead and switch over to just doing it by hand with my paste and polishes and diamond polishes and such. But the nice thing, I want to go back one time, the nice thing about this is when you sand off your rough end for the glue up for your inlays, you can always take your tool post or your lathe tool, bring it back down. If you need to size it down a little bit, or maybe it's just a little bit too thick, you want to thin it down a little bit, you can always do that. But the thing with working with the lathe tools is when you start bringing the tool into your inlay material, rocks, meteorite, whatever you may be using, they're big, gigantic chunks, and you can only take off just tiny bits at a time without having to worry about this whole thing blowing up on you and stuff going all over the place. With using my lathe sander system here, you've got a nice smooth belt. Well, not smooth, but you know what I mean. You got a nice consistent is what I'm looking for. Nice consistent sand on your flat spots there, and that helps take your inlay down just a little bit more. But water misting system helps keep the dust down, and of course keeps the belt cooler, keeps your glues or your acrylic or whatever, helps keep that a little bit cooler so that it doesn't start melting on you and go flying all apart. And I don't know, it's worked out pretty good for me so far. It speeds up my process by, I don't know, I'm going to say probably 90%, depending on the material that I'm using. And the space that it requires is very minimal. Yeah, it's going to take space behind your lathe. However, this could be used the opposite direction too, that if you were tight on space and you needed to push this up against the wall or back a little bit, then you could actually turn this around, put it back over here, and that will help out as well. Anyway, that's just a brief rundown on the lathe sander, and kind of this is my part two that took me forever to get to, but been busy with work. Hope to be making some more videos soon. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead, leave those below. And don't forget to subscribe and like my videos if you like them. And we'll look forward to doing some more. Thank you. Have a great day.